know about relationships, but you're wrong. Listen, there's no magic bullet. I'm teaching life skills.
When you're sick, you need medicine. It don't always taste good, but it'll get you better. You need this medicine. It ain't gonna always taste good, but this is what you need. Men and women, bottom line, we need to have the conversation. Your partner wants to give up control, but only if you know how to drive. This is about being the best you could ever be, whoever you are. I don't care if you're a man, a woman, LGBTQ, space alien. I'll save anybody. I don't care. I'll teach a hedgehog how to have a threesome.
What do you mean by that?
Look, you don't have to listen to me, but you're wrong.
Listen, I know I'm great. And I know you're thinking, Dante, there's no way I could be like you. But you could be me, you know why?
Because you know who I was? Before I was me, I was you.
Man, score 202.
Better hear what I've got to say because you won't get it again.
I'm not an alpha male. I'm not a beta male either. I'm just a better man. Well, put your happiness first, because if you don't, they won't. Yo, what up? GYBB, get your balls back. WWDD, What Would Dante Do? The Sexual Revolution is being podcasted. And I am excited. What's going on? Happy Sunday. See everybody coming in the comments. That's dope. What's going on, my people? If you can hear me, put a one in the, put a thumbs up in the comment section, please. Put a number 1 in the comment section if you can hear me. What's going on? What's up, Xavier? How you doing, Papa? What's going on, Matt? Shout out to Matt. I'm glad y'all can hear me good. All right. Just want to make sure the phones are working. Phones are gonna be up. I'm gonna do something that we normally don't do. If the calls come in, I'm gonna keep going until the calls stop. How about that? Jabril was going on. ENN TV was popping. Everybody can hear me. That's dope. I'm just bullshitting a little bit until everybody comes in. I don't want to start and anybody miss this. Let me check the phones a little bit. Let's see what's going on. Let's see. Make sure the phones are working. Okay, phone's working. All right, that works for me. Phones are open. Let me put the phone number up. Don't forget, y'all, please, let's get the likes up, too. We don't do that enough. When it comes to the likes, everybody hit the thumbs up, hit the likes. Let's get that live. That keeps the algorithm or whatever. Actually, I don't know what keeps the algorithm. I'm just going to keep rocking until we build. That's all. Keep helping people. And hope for the best. That's what we can do. That's all we can do. That's the most we can hope for, right? Man. Yeah, I'm in a good mood. Got some good rest. So there's that. Let's see who else is in the comments. Anybody else? Honey Giori. Hey, Dante. Let me see this real quick. Got a couple questions in the comments. Hey, Dante, the Patreon, is it possible to do an episode on safe ways to go raw? What behaviors to watch out for to know who you can trust and the other person if a mishap happens? Okay? You said it, honey. We will do it. We will do a full episode on the Patreon on that actual comment. Let me see. Just make sure you send that question to me on the Patreon, so we'll have a copy of the question so we can cover it. Oh, and there's more. Hold on. And also, if they get pregnant, how to handle it if you're not ready to have a kid. We will cover all of that. I'm looking for you on Patreon. Patreon, just go to Patreon and go Man School 202. Let me put it up so you know how to get me. I should put that up more. If you're asking me why, then I am not doing my job. Support the show, get bonus content, gaming techniques, and direct email with access to www.patreon.com/manschool202. That's how you can find me. Hold on. Yo, I'm on live. Let me hit you back. Later. Yeah, that's how you get the Patreon. You go on and sign up for that. That's a really good way to help the show, to keep the show moving on, and to keep us doing it and doing the editing and putting up the content. It's mad important. You can always also don't forget the Cash App is up. Send me some money, goddammit. Send me some money. Send me some goddamn money. I need some money. Cash App, PayPal is up. Y'all know what it is. You can always do that to help the show as well. So dope. And there's a couple of things I wanted to talk about. I'm just waiting until the people come in. I started a little late, but there's that. Let's see who else is in the comments. Let me shout everybody out, see if there's anything early. Xavier, always coming through, baby. Always coming through. Xavier Karina, thank you for the $5, baby, on the Cash App. Thank you, Papa. Let's put the number up. You definitely do that. Today, just real quick, any on the Patreon, the way that we're operating through the Patreon is anything that you specifically want a whole show on. If you want on the Patreon followers are actually directing the content that's going on the Patreon. So if you are a member of the Patreon, you can send me a message and say, Dante, this is a subject that's going on. This is what's happening. I want all the information on that. And Harry and I will do a show specifically on that. So y'all know how to get the Patreon. Let me put that up one more time. So it's a way of getting to us. It's a way of getting access to us directly and getting the information exactly what you want in a specific way. Again, it's up on the screen. It's www.patreon.com/manschool202. You always know how you get me. If it's personal or it's something that's really detailed, you can always book a session with me. One-on-one consultation on DanteNero.com. Just click on consult. Also, don't forget to like, share, comment, give us a thumbs up. Send this to somebody that you think is having a rough time, that you know that there's principles and things that you've learned. And that you think somebody that needs it. Big shout to Darren, OJ Pimpson. All right, let me see this comment real quick. Okay, the question in the comments was, how do I call in to ask a question? I have to donate a certain amount to call in or get a certain amount of time allotted to my call. Oh, that's easy. You just call in. OJ Pitson, where you at? Let me see. I'm gonna put the number up. Let me just shout everybody out. Shout out to Audaz Firm. I miss Patrice O'Neal, me, you, and everybody else. Harsh Operator, what's up? Ahmed Al Najjar, I think that's right, Najjar. Oil Per, on live. Oh, welcome, Harsh. Welcome. Thank you so much, man. I'm glad you were looking for me. So I'm on live. I'm not gonna let you down. The people that need you most. This is Ahmed Al Najjar says. Real quick, Harsh. The telephone number is scrolling at the bottom right here. So if you can get the number there, but I'm gonna put it up in a second. The people that need you the most are the ones who refuse the most to hear you. Absolutely. You preaching to the choir. ENN TV, thank you, man. Thanks for the page. Thanks for getting back on the Patreon. I appreciate it, man. And thank you for the belated birthday. My birthday's May 20. Another Taurus. You just made it, huh? That's dope. Welcome. A lot of crazy tourists. Martin Luther King and Dennis Rodman. That's the and Stevie Wonder. That's how well it is. J. Hosh Barnes, thank you for always having chats back. Of course. Y'all my people. We family. Yeah, that's right. Hit the homies. Let them know I'm rocking, man. And if you think somebody needs this, man, send them a link. Just when you go on YouTube or whatever, you can share it and just share the link, and then somebody can check it out. If not, once I post up the clips or whatever, you can always send them that. Ian and TV says we're intellectual teams. Freaks. I'm a female, by the way. Oh, shouts. Big shouts, Ian. And thank you for being on the in the chat and listening. I mean, we all need to get it. Big shout to Wilver Sepulveda. What's up, Dante? Welcome back. Yo, Dante, for Ace thoughts about telling the whole truth, entire truth, versus just what was asked. And it's Ali. It's not oil. Okay, it's Ali. My bad, Ali. Of course, I'll handle that in a minute. Sending my link back to Kendall in New York City. Y'all went around the comedy clubs a few years back. Dope. Okay, we can start with that, Ali. So I always tell this story. This is a personal story that I say about myself. And this is going to be reference. It's going to be a little. It's going to seem like it's not relevant. But I got off the plane. I was on the road, and I came back in, and a friend of mine hit me just as I had landed, and I go, look, I'm in the airport. Yes, Ian, I absolutely will do a meetup. We're going to do some live shows real soon. We're working on that now. Also, so I got off the plane, and a friend of mine called me up, and I said, listen, I just got off the plane. I'm getting ready to head home, and jump in the cab. I jumped in I called an Uber, jumped in the Uber, and I left. I called him. I said, listen, I'll hit you when I get home, and I settled in. I told him I just jumped in a cab. And then as I was heading in, I was heading home. I got home and I called him back and I said, listen, when you called me earlier, I said, I just jumped in a cab and I said, I said that I jumped in a cab and I said, no, it wasn't a cab. It was actually an Uber. And he said, oh, okay. Like, he looked at, he didn't look at me, but we were on the phone. He was like, I don't, why does that matter? And I said to him, it matters because it's not the truth. It was an Uber, not a cab. Now, let me explain to you why this is important. At the time when he said, well, I don't see the problem with it, right? But think about his mentality. Think about somebody that's trying to talk some shit about me as a person. If somebody said that I was a liar, right? And and he was trying to convince any of you that I was a liar or that I said something that is out of character. You would say, no, that's not true. My integrity would never be questioned. Why? Because in the interim, because this person would be able to say, listen, let me tell you a little story about Dante. And they would repeat the story. He called me back specifically to tell me, distinguish the difference between him taking a cab or an Uber, right? That's how truthful he is. Now, it may mean nothing to at the moment, but what it ultimately does is it speaks to the integrity of somebody who doesn't let even the littlest thing pass by in terms of a lie. That I'm so important that the details is so important to me that I won't even make a difference in whether it's an Uber, which in the reality is just most people would perceive it as insignificant. But I don't perceive it as insignificant because one of the things about behavior becomes habitual, right? If you're a person who states a standard and you keep that standard, it's really important for you to keep that standard in every situation possible, like in every way that you can, because the minute you start slacking and start you take shortcuts, it always leads to, it's more habitual. It will become to bigger shortcuts. You will be less consistent. You will, the details won't matter. But when the details matter, it helps you to stay online. The other thing about helping you to stay online is your self-esteem is directly related to how honest you are, how readily you are to confront people in situations that you don't have to confront them about the truth. And because you're so ready to be that guy who is straight up at at an extreme level, you become this guy who is known to be truthful, that your word is beyond reproach. Now, how does this all work in the grand scheme of things? When people see you as that kind of guy, right? Even people who don't know you, people who come in contact with you, come in contact with other people who come in contact with you, your reputation will precede you. The other thing is this: if everybody on the chat, I would like this if y'all could do this. Everybody in the chat right now, right? Anybody who is, if you think about all the people that are in your immediate circle, how many people? Listen to the question: how many people do you actually say are authentic, tell the truth all the time, always keep their word, and have empathy for other people in a way that in a way that that you can actually say these are people who do that, right? Go in the comments in the chat and tell me how many people do you know that practice ACE in your life. I'll wait. I'm gonna look at the comments. I want to see what's going on in the comments right now. Also, Harsh. Also, if you want to call in, I'm gonna put the number up. Call in, but I'm gonna just look at the comments right now. I want to the number of people that you know, that are presently in your life, right? Practice ACE. Miles, you said five homies, 7. Now I'm talking about people like I'm talking about even somebody who says something as simple as lateness. If somebody says they're gonna be there at a certain time, lateness. Miles, you said 5. ENN, she said 7. Somebody that always tells the truth, somebody that always keeps their word, somebody that has the empathy to see that other people have gone through things that they might not have gone through, and that could be on any level. OJ, call again. I mean, I did see a missed call, but I don't know why it didn't try again. OJ, call back. Lines are open, so you should be able to call in. If not, I'll check. You know what? Let me check the line real quick. Because it just worked. So, hold on. Okay, I'm seeing a lot of 1s. I'm seeing 2. I'm seeing 3. Ian, if you got 7, you're a lucky chick. 134th. JR says 134th. It's a fraction. Wow, that's weird. It's not. Why is it not ringing? It's crazy. All right, let me shut. You're right. You're right. For some reason, the phone's not working. Let me get it back up. Hold on. Let me shut the phones down and set them back up. One more again. Sure did. I just checked the phones. That's wild. Hold on. Let's see. Let's try the phones one more time. Let's see. Sorry about this. I hate when we get this technical shit. Come on, man. Okay. All right. Phones are working. OJ Pimpson, call back, man. You can call back. The lines are open. So I see some people say 0, 1. Somebody said 134th. OJ, the number is up again. 2 of my friends. Hold on. Let me take care of this real quick, and we'll get back to this. What's your name? Where you calling from, family?
To accept, press 1. To send a voicemail, press 2.
My bad. I'm a little rusty today. What's wrong with me today? Come on, man.
Call from
OJ.
Oh, man. It's still not working. I can't open the door. Come on. Can you hear me, OJ? Hold on. You know what? Oh, I'm a reboot again. Oh, here it is. You know what? OJ, I'm gonna call you back. So let's do that. See if I can call you back. Since I fucked up. Oh, God, here we go. All right, let me reboot it again. God damn. Let's see. Reboot again. It's giving me a hard time today. Real quick, big shout to George. Thank you for the $3 on the Cash App, bro. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Let's try it one more time. Let me check the line again.
Hello. Please state your name after the tone, and Google Voice will try to connect you.
Let's see. The phone's is ringing now, right? Oh, gosh. Come on, man.
Okay.
To accept, press 1. To send a voicemail.
OJ, can you hear me?
OJ, yes, I can.
You hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah. What's going on, bro? I'm sorry for the problem, for the technical. What's going
No,
on?
it's
How can
all
I
good,
help
man.
you? How can I help you, brother?
Well, I think we're talking about has a lot to play into what I'm about to talk about with the respect. I think it all has to do with respect when it comes down to it. When like how people hold themselves accountable and how much respect they have for themselves and how much they have for you. Because I mean, if like being held accountable, if you tell someone, I'm going to do this for you, or I'm going to be on time.
Right.
If you're late, how much do you really care about them?
You're right.
Or and that's it. And that's I was talking to some dude about you have 3 types of friends in life, like utility friends, like happy friends, and genuine friends. And you got to figure out which kind of friends you are. And a lot of times, if you're only a utility friend, maybe those people don't show up for you. And you can really tell the type of dedication people have or the respect people carry for you by how they show up for you in your life when you need them.
Absolutely. What's your question?
My question was, so I've watched a lot of like the Black Phillip. I've heard like a ton of interviews with you and Patrice and all that. And you guys talk about like the ultimate pursuit is like our own happiness, right? And like I understand that with like Patrice is like not married at the time and dating, and there were people on the show that were married or whatever. But my question is, at what point does it come to like we're talking about like respect, even in a marriage, where you call it quits? You know what I mean? Whereas like, there's not genuinely, honestly, there's not so much that's wrong, but I feel like there's such a lack of respect and no accountability. And it's like, that's just not making me happy dealing with that on a constant basis.
Are you married now or no?
Yeah.
Okay, so what I would say to that is there's a few things I would say to that. Number one is one of the reasons why it is that way is directly because you've allowed this to happen for a period of time. People don't do things to you unless you let them. Okay. And so how long have we been married?
About 1.5 years at this point, and we prior to that we were dating for 2.5, 3 years.
Okay, but I'm imagining, you were attracted to this woman and you liked her and y'all hit it off and you thought that she was, worth hooking up with in that way, right? But the things that you're concerned about now, how much of that, and this is a question, how much of that was going on while you were dating and that you maybe just overlooked it because, you was in love?
Yeah, you're right. You know, I kind of overlooked the behavior that's going on right now. I overlooked it and kind of thought, well, maybe it'll change. Maybe she'll like grow as a person or not do kind of the odd squad stuff that she's doing.
So
she'll grow out of it.
So
and
my point is, did she ever recognize that this was a problem? That those issues that you had, that you thought it was a problem?
Yeah, and she has a lack of like accountability. So I would say she does a lot of immature stuff, like jealous, insecure.
No. Listen to the question. It's real important that you listen to the question.
Right.
Did she ever acknowledge the fact that have you had conversations with her about all of these things, or whatever those list of things are? Because the things that are a problem are not really the problem. The real at the root of it is the fact that you allowed these things to happen. And so my question is, I imagine that you saw these things but overlooked them, and you thought that she would mature, right? I mean, that's what you're saying. That's what's actually coming out of your mouth. My question is, did you ever make it clear that this was a problem?
Yes.
Okay, and what was her response to that?
I'll try to get better, or I'll try to be different.
Okay, so now when you got married, was it better?
I would say for a little. I mean, I would say a few months, like 6 months before we got married.
That's a no.
Yes.
You understand what I'm saying? That's a no.
Yes.
Because
right. Yeah. In essence, yes. You're right.
In essence, what we're saying is this is a life behavior. She was showing you who she was, and who she was as an adult. How old is she?
30.
Okay, so if she's 30 and that took her time to develop her point of view and the way to respond to things in this way, and what you're putting against the 30 years of her being the way she is against a month of her not doing it, right?
True.
So what I'm saying is it realistic? I mean, and this is just you, me, and talking, and I'm not jumping down your throat, but I just want you to see this perspectively in a logical way. If somebody had a habit, and then all of a sudden they stop doing it for a month, is that a situation where you would say that you could really trust the person to break that habit in a month?
No, not at all.
Okay, and so you marrying her is basically, you got to talk. I talk about the subtext of this, right? You rewarded her. You went deeper into the relationship, much more of a commitment, when she did nothing to change. So in essence, the subtext of what you were communicating with her was that, I'm what's coming out my mouth is I have a problem with this or I have a problem with that. But what I really mean is it doesn't matter. You can do what the fuck you want to do. Because you rewarded this behavior.
Yeah, I guess in a way, yeah, you're right. I guess she has a habit of trying to like consume my manhood.
What do you mean? What do you mean by that?
Like, let's say I want to go out with my buddies and play pool or something, just as an example.
Right.
She's going to use that, like, I don't want to stay at home because I don't love her enough. You know what I mean? Try to manipulate situations and turning them into something. You do understand that
even as you're talking to me, right? You are acknowledging that it's a form of manipulation, right?
Yes.
But you were like fine with it. You still married her.
There were stipulations to my marriage. I mean, she's an immigrant, so there was certain stipulations, but it's a long story.
Here, I get it. And whatever those circumstances was, that maybe you had time that you needed to marry her or whatever the fuck because of visas or whatever. I totally get it. But what I'm saying at the core of it, I'm being an honest.
I allowed it to happen. I
Right.
allowed it to happen.
Right.
And then I followed through with marrying her and gave her that green light to go say, hey, apparently this is okay.
And not only did you just not passively let it happen, which is still your stamp of approval, but you married her, which is almost I mean, you know what I'm saying? You put the cherry on top.
True.
And so now as things, because if you think about it, I mean, a lot of times, let's say if we have a conflict, and let's say you and I, we've been friends for a long time, and you consistent, you don't show up for me, right? And I just say, it's two men. I go, listen, man, I've been down for you forever, and every time I need you to show up for me, you are unable to show up for me. And so this has to change, or otherwise we end the friendship, right? If I say that directly to you, right? And then the next time something happens, you don't show up for me. Should we have a conversation to that, or should I just end the friendship?
End the friendship.
So let's say, and that's especially clear because we had a conversation. So the parameters and the boundary for this relationship is set, and you choose to jump over that boundary, right? Even after he said, man, I'm gonna do better. I apologize, and I'm gonna do better, right? What you did was you had a problem with this. You mentioned it lightly. You didn't hold her accountable, and not only that, you went an extra step and you condoned it. You gave her the doggy treat to say that this is good behavior. So not only did you accept it passively, but you rewarded this behavior. And then in your mind, you were like, oh, maybe she'll mature. I mean, a lot of times when people promise to change, let's be honest, people don't really change. I'm not saying that they can't change, but people don't. It's really not. It's not a common thing for people to change at the core who they are. Then they don't change even when they say they are. But she never even said she would change. She never even made real, in your opinion, she never even made an effort to not do that. And I guarantee you, after she married you and y'all got married, she was even more comfortable doing this, right?
100%. Yeah, true.
And so now you're a year in marriage, it's worse, and it's just getting worse. And at what point in time is this? Why should she ever change?
Right. Well, I feel like it's because you're right. Like, I allowed it, and because I guess I signed the papers of because we didn't get married through the church or whatever, because I didn't want to take a vow in front of God. But we signed the papers, and I'm like, well, I did make a commitment to you, and just because of your attitude and because I'm so unhappy with you, it almost makes me feel like I have to admit to myself that I'm a failure, and I cannot I failed at the marriage. You know? Almost nervous to leave it.
First of all, if you are, if you want to be a lawyer, you go to law school, right? You can't go to law school, get a law degree, and then wish you were a doctor. Do you understand? What I'm saying is you okay. Now I feel like I'm a failure. Why? Because I'm not a doctor. I go, didn't you go to law school? You understand how that analogy makes it sound ridiculous?
True. Yeah.
So, I mean, relationships, marriages, they're all, I'm not going to say that they're not difficult, but they're like carrying a couch, right? It's hard to carry a couch with one person, but if you and I get at each end of the couch and we carry it ain't that hard. It ain't that difficult. So if you have somebody that's not willing to work with you, right? It's not really, I'm not saying that you haven't, I'm not going to absolve you of the mistakes that you made, right? But I'm also not going to say that you can carry that couch by your goddamn self.
True. Okay. I see where you're coming from.
And I think you have to understand as well that anytime somebody tells you love is unconditional, that's a lie. Love is not unconditional, even when it comes to your kids. If you have kids, because at some point in time, if your kids are so disrespectful and unappreciative and whatever, if you got a kid and they, strung out on drugs and they're coming in your house and stealing shit from you and stuff, at some point in time, that love that you have for them is conditional. Because if somebody's in your life and all they're doing is looking at they're working, actively working for your demise, right? You even if it's your kid, you got to move on. You have to set boundaries and limits, And so if you're in a relationship with two adults, I mean, you both come from different lifestyles and different cultures and stuff. You're trying to get into a marriage and trying to be together and you're trying to raise kids. I mean, this is why I say anytime you get married, you got to think about all the things that all the things I say. Relationships are really easy. Just know what your non-negotiables are and then never negotiate them. But ACE is when we talk about, I don't know if you've been listening to our content, but there's the 3 principles that I talk about all the time is ACE, which is authenticity, telling the truth, credibility, keeping your word, and empathy, understanding that people go through different things and we may not understand it culturally or lifestyle or whatever.
I've heard you say that before, yeah.
And so it's difficult to mesh together. You both, it's like carrying that couch. You both got to carry your ends, and you both got to put the effort in, right? If you don't have 2 people putting the effort in, or if you don't even lay out the parameters of what your happiness is and what's important to you, then how could you possibly hold hope that this is going to work out? Then ultimately what you're doing is you're rolling the dice.
I'm rolling the dice on my happiness, basically.
You're rolling your dice on the whole thing, the marriage, the this, the that. I mean, I don't know what kind of financial obligation you're going to have here, and if she's an immigrant, then what is that? And I mean, you just rolled.
I don't have any. There's no financial obligation. Okay. I signed a prenup. I was smart enough to sign a prenup and do all of that.
Okay.
So it's basically like I'm almost nervous because it's like, well, I'm kind of leaving her in a situation because she has no family here.
Okay,
I almost
but
feel bad for it. You know what I mean? So I don't want to be a bad guy in that situation.
But you're not being a bad guy. So, but you also you're not allowed to allow somebody to use you as a doormat and just wipe your feet on you.
That's true.
So you've mentioned what some of the problems are, and she hasn't made these adjustments. The first thing you have to understand is that if she is going to make any change, she has to understand that this behavior and the way things are going are unattainable for the both of you, and that you're not going to do it. And whether or not she has family or not or whatever, I mean that is the fact that she has no family and nobody to back her up, right? Is also something that she's just, like you're taking this into consideration based on what decisions you're going to make. Who should really take into consideration the fact that she has nobody?
Well, it's like I feel like as an immigrant, she kind of like looked at me and was like, "Oh, this is like Donald Trump made my life great again" type thing, and she's like trying to use me to like make her life great and pit me. You know what I mean? So if I get divorced with her, she has to find some other guy like to do what I did. You know what I mean?
But she's clearly taken all of this and all of your generosity for granted.
Pretty much. And I just feel like she's too immature to be in a marriage and or a relationship, but she plays very innocent. So it's very hard to determine, like we're talking about the respect thing. It's very hard to determine, like, if someone's very kind to you or whatever on the outside, but they have like inner intentions. You only find that later on when you've been dealing with them for a while. You know what I mean?
Okay. So but you got to understand something. It's really not that difficult. Like the first thing is all you really care about is that she respects you and treats you good and loves you and she gives a fuck about your happiness.
Yes.
Even if she has these inner agendas or whatever the fuck it is or whatever, you wouldn't even be calling me right now if those things were being satisfied, right?
True. Yeah.
So in essence, what I'm saying is none of that matters. It's what I mean. This is why we used to always say, you got to put your happiness first, because this is a prime example of that. Because you, as a man, as a righteous dude, right? Here it is. You're unhappy, right? You ultimately, the picture that you're painting is that you ultimately rescued her from a situation. She has nobody here. You brought her here. You're still worrying about if she's okay. And what are you really asking for? Some respect, some not manipulation, not, I mean, you didn't really talk about what specifically she does wrong, and I don't even need you to do that. But it doesn't sound like you're asking for that much.
I don't think I am. It's not like, I mean, like, we'll say like going through my phone while I'm sleeping, or like making things up where I'm like, if I see a girl at the gym, or I know a lot of people at my gym, if I've seen a girl at the gym or I've talked to a girl, it's like now I'm like trying to hook up with this girl and like still
but
fight
here's
about
the
it
thing.
for a date.
If she's doing that, she was doing that for the 2 years that you dated her.
You're absolutely fucking right. Yes.
And you married her,
yeah.
and you married her. That I know there's no way she wasn't doing that before. And
like you said, I allowed it. Yeah, I understand it now.
And so this is something that she didn't lie about it. She showed you who she was, and you were like, I'm signing up for more of this.
And I guess me trying to like argue about it and almost have a defense, like, what are you doing? Like, I'm not doing anything. You're trying to reassure her that I'm being faithful to her. And none of that mattered. Yeah, I still allowed it to happen and went forward, even if I forgave her.
Honest question. Are you cheating on her?
Absolutely not.
Okay,
no.
So you understand, if you're not cheating on her, you can't cheat on her less.
That's true.
If you're not, there's none. So there's nothing you can do to cheat on her less. And so you have to understand the insecurity of this has nothing to do with you. It's internally the fact that she's insecure, and that could be any number of reasons. That could be her upbringing. That could be the fact it doesn't have anything to do with you specifically. Like if you were a guy and you told me that, oh, my girlfriend's cheating on me, I would go, she's not cheating on you. She's just accessing her options. And you should be happy that she's cheating on you because she's showing you specifically who she is. Now you can decide who she is as a person. I mean, if she told you one thing and then she's sliding out on you on the back end, at least you know who she is. Cut it off, move on.
Whereas, and you know what? I never thought that if she did that, I kind of thought that was just like a slip up of hers, and I took it as kind of like it's like a one or two time slip up of accidentally being jealous. But now that I'm looking back at it, and you're actually saying it's like, wait a second, I should have taken that as a behavior.
Well,
and said, no, that's actually who she is.
Let's be honest. You said you dated her for 2 years. 2 years before you got married. There's no way you can't tell me that there wasn't at least a monthly I'm jealous thing going on at least once a month. Probably more than that.
I would say once every 3 months, but it would last for like a week and a half, and then get brought up maybe once a month.
And then the thing that you supposedly got past, in essence, what you're saying is you have accumulatively been manipulated into the fact that you're not a trustworthy. But not only that, but if somebody treats me like that and I'm not cheating, I'm angry.
That's how I am. I'm angry. Yeah, I'm angry, and I've been resentful because I feel like I've been a good guy. I've been charitable. I've been trying to see the best for her. You know what I mean? In whatever situation, and being told that I'm cheating is like a slap in the face to my respect, my manhood, my honor.
Let me say this. You're not angry enough.
You think so?
No,
Because I thought I was angry enough already.
No, because you're still worried about somebody who is not concerned with the fact of what your happiness is. The fact that somebody's willing to bring you to bear this brunt of her insecurity consistently over and over again. If you're kind to somebody, and you're being and somebody is giving their ass to kiss or giving you attitude, like one of the things about me is I'm gonna talk. If there's a problem, I'm gonna talk to you. And if I'm talking to you and you giving me an ass to kiss, then fuck you. And I'm willing to walk away from it 100%. I don't care what's at stake. I don't care how much we got in between us or whatever, because at no point in time, if you're not respecting me and who I am and what I do for you on a day-to-day basis, and because you got your panties in a bunch today and you think you're going to shit on me, I will leave yesterday. Because what somebody is saying to you, what is the subtext? I don't care what you did. I don't care who you are. I don't care how much you mean to me, right? I'm gonna treat you the way I am, some funky way, because I got an attitude, or because things are rough for me. So now I'm gonna take it out on you.
And usually I would have taken that different, because she's like, if she was a girlfriend, I totally would have ended that. But because I guess maybe like you said, I'm not mad enough, and I'm kind of being a little bit of a pussy about it. Let's
be honest. This has been going on when she was your girlfriend. So you're not even being honest with yourself about that.
Yeah, you're right.
So
I can be honest that it happened, but you're right. I'm honest that I didn't deal with it. I didn't see it like it was going to turn into like this monster, I guess.
Well, you just said if it was a girlfriend, I would have did it. What you really mean is, she was a girlfriend and I didn't really like her, I wouldn't put up with it. But that's not what this situation. This is a girlfriend that you really liked. You had feelings for whatever reason, right? And you were willing to put up with it for 2.5 years. And now you're in a marriage where you married the person who she was in the first place, and now you're stuck. So we've established that. Then how do you move forward? The only way you move forward is that you have to understand, if this is not what you're willing to put up with, then you have to leave, right? But you have to make it clear. There's a lesson that I talk about. I don't say this nearly enough, is don't make ultimate decisions, give ultimatums. What that means, if she's acting this way and you're saying, look, I'm not going to tolerate this. And she does. I mean, she doesn't even have to do it again. You know, I mean, I wouldn't even wait for the next time it happens, because we always want it to be justified. But what you have to do is, you got to go. You got to go. We had this conversation. I have decided that I'm not going to be treated this way. I don't like how it's been. I talked to you about this, and what we need to do is wrap this up and find a way where you got to go back or go stay, and that's how you approach this.
So without me giving ultimatums, is that what allowed it to keep going on? Is because I kind of got over it or let it blow over?
Listen, an ultimatum is a negotiation. If you don't do this, I'm going to do this.
Right.
A decision is, I'm assessing this situation, and this is how I'm moving forward so that my life is better, which is, I'm ready to eliminate you from my life.
True. Okay.
Now, I say it like that because it needs to be final, but not final. What I mean by that is, I never tell somebody to do something as a technique, right? So one of the things that I say all the time is, real game is no game, right? I'm not going to teach you a technique, a manipulative technique, because that's what she's doing. And you think, if you're playing a game, right, somebody's going to win and somebody's going to lose, right? And it could be you. Right. But if you're being if you're moving forward with ace, with authenticity and integrity and credibility, then what you're saying what you mean, which is your behavior is unattainable, and I'm not. You have shown me this is what you're going to do. I have talked to you about this before. It has not changed. We are ending this relationship and we're moving forward. Now, and that has to be your answer. Now, you got to mean that, and you got to be able to walk away from this at whatever extent that, even if you leave her flat with no backup or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Now, what I mean by that is things change. Just like people fall in love, they fall out of love. People can take advantage of people and then realize that they're important in their life as well. But until she's at the edge of the cliff, I'm assuming that she'll never see this. I mean, you have to assume that she'll never change. Now, if she thinks that this is important, right, she can make a decision to change. At that point in time, you can assess whether you think that what she's saying is authentic or she's just bullshitting her way. Because if she doesn't really mean, I'm like, you got to understand that this relationship, you're calling me because this relationship is unattainable already.
On the rocks.
It's going to go to shit. It's not going to get better.
Yeah.
At least if and I've seen this happen. Shout out to Cinnabon, is a dude who I helped get through his marriage. Is his wife, they had already gotten divorced. It's 3 years later after the divorce. He's living with some other woman right now. He's very happy and so on and so forth. And now she says, I really didn't understand how good I had it. Yeah, well, okay. You can't assume that, look, you can't assume that she's ever going to figure that out. And even if she does, you can't assume that she won't let go her pride to go, listen, I'm fucking up. I'm getting ready to fuck this up. So
well, she does have a lack of accountability. So, and what you're making me realize is that I've been too bitch made to be honest with myself.
Absolutely.
And just to say, hey, you gotta give the ultimatum and be really, like, I haven't been really truly willing to walk away because I want to be the good guy and at least give it a chance, whatever. But I'm finding that I give too many chances, and I'm almost at this point. I give myself too much rope and too many chances, and I'm hanging myself.
Here's the real thing that you don't understand. You're giving a chance to somebody who didn't even ask for a chance.
Yeah. You got a point.
You're getting mad. You get mad. She's mad. You mad. Whatever. And then she goes through your phone again. So she's clearly going, I don't give a fuck about your happiness. I don't give a fuck that this is manipulative. I don't give a fuck that this bothers you. I don't give a fuck that this disrespects you. When I say you're not mad enough, like if somebody accuses me of something that is beyond my integrity and my credibility, I'm like, who the fuck? How, like, you don't know me? Like, you never met me? Because
and I feel like I try that and I've gotten like that, but also sometimes I feel like I'll say, like, I'm gonna keep it 100%. Sometimes if I get like that and she'll get a little defensive, I'll get a little defensive and it'll start to like heat up where I'm like, ooh, I gotta cool down. We're like, I'm starting to
there's no reason to heat up.
Right.
If you, like, man to man, if I go, look, man, I don't really, if we're friends and I go, look, I don't really fuck with you because I really feel like you a bitch.
Right.
You go, yo, who you calling a bitch? I go, look, I'm not trying to fight you. I'm not trying, I don't have no respect for you because you don't keep your word. Nobody's trying to fight you, whatever, but I just don't want to, I'm not fucking with you no more. Now, if you mad because I called you a bitch, whatever, do whatever. But this is my opinion. I go, whether we fight or not, or we get physical, I still think you a bitch. And this is why.
I see what you're saying. I see. Okay. I see what you're saying. So
there's nothing to be angry about. Like, even this is what happens with guys when they get cheated on. They go, oh, I'm this, blah, 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 blah. They're all angry and go, nah, dog, she didn't think that you were worthy of keeping her word to and having that kind of integrity.
she was so easy to get out of pocket on somebody.
Now-
so how much did she really care
Now,
about
when
you?
if you're mad, you're mad because this is how she sees you. Now, just because she's not smart enough to see that you're worthy of trust and worthy of kindness, and or maybe she doesn't even have the ability to give that because she's grown up in toxic situations where she's selfish, or she's grown up in a level of, in an environment that's scarce, so she's insecure and holding on to everything, and she's, you know what I mean? Well, she's manipulative because she doesn't think she's worth all of those things. I mean, there's always an underlying reason for it, right? Yeah. Doesn't matter. All you care about is what the outcome is. And if you don't go,
I gotta give an ultimatum.
You gotta go, and it's not even an ultimatum. It's a decision to say, I'm not happy, and this is how I'm going to move forward. And well, what if she might, she may not say anything. And if she doesn't say anything, if she doesn't go, wait a minute, I don't want to break up, I want this to work, then you can decide the validity of that. But you can't give somebody a second chance or give forgiveness if somebody didn't ask for forgiveness.
You got a point. That's game. That's game.
She thinks that her non-apology is good enough. She's going, I don't give a fuck about you. I say this all the time. I mean, I'm counsel with guys, one-on-one consultations, just so you know. DanteNero.com. If you ever need something, whatever, it's like personal, you really want to know about the process or whatever, I'll give you the words that you need. I mean, I can do that too. But the point is, I just counseled the guy, give you an honest, real situation. The guy, he's living with this girl. I don't know if they're married or not, but she's 26 years old. She hangs out with her friends. Her friends are a bunch of, her friends are about the streets, and she wants to hang out in the streets. And she goes, you're insecure, and you're this, and you're that. And he goes, look, I don't care if you go out or hang out with your friends. I mean, I want to hang out with my friends, but I don't think you should be in a hotel room with you and your friends with a bunch of guys, right? True. And she goes, well, I was just with them, and I was afraid that they was going to be in trouble. And so in essence, what you're saying is you're allowing people to put you in positions where is detrimental to this relationship. And because of that, you're willing to get down with them. So what you're saying is my friends and my hangout shit is more important than my relationship. And that is okay, right? As long as it's okay with you. But understand this, if it's not okay with you, right? And you're saying, because the guy called me up because his girl told him, she did the okie doke, the gaslighting, when she was like, you need to get therapy because you are too insecure. And I said to him, do you think it's unreasonable for you to not want your girl, fiance actually, to be in a hotel room with a bunch of guys hanging out? Do you think that's an unreasonable ask? He said, no. He goes, and then she broke daylight. She came in the next month. And it's like, it's like, do you think it's unreasonable to say, yo, give me a call or they live together? He says, no, I don't think it's unreasonable. Then if you're not asking for something unreasonable, right? And and her thing is, you're insecure, you need to get therapy, right? No, what she's saying is, you're saying, I have this concern about your behavior. Even if, and he was like, at least if you're going to hang out late, at least get home before sunlight. And I was like, dog, first of all, you're wrong, because you think somehow there's something magic about when the sun comes up. In my past, right, when I was stripping and running around, hoeing around, I'd pick up a chick from a show, drop her home, and she fucked me in the car in the project's parking lot. Baby wipe up and then go upstairs. Before 12. Somebody could call you at noon, say, I'm going to, here's the crazy thing. I forget who told me this. I think one of the guys called in, and he was like, he was messing around with this married woman, she would call him up, right? Give him her grocery list, right? He would go and shop for the groceries, right? She would tell her husband that she was going to get groceries, right? She would go to his house, fuck him, right? He would load the groceries up. She would Venmo him the money for the groceries. And that allotted time that she was supposed to be in the supermarket, she'd fuck him.
That's some sneaky shit.
Go home with the groceries. So what I'm saying, somebody coming in and I'm not saying you can't do your relationship the way you want to, saying I'm coming in, as long as you get in before sun up or whatever, you can do whatever you want to do. I'm just saying this is giving you a false sense of security. The reality of this is somebody who doesn't want to be in a relationship. She doesn't want to be, she wants to hang out with friends. She wants to be about the streets. So you have to be honest with yourself, recognize that, and go, oh, well, my girl is for the streets. So I'm out. Instead of arguing with them that you should change something that's unreasonable. So in essence,
I see the larger point that you're trying to get to. I don't want to take up too much airtime because I know there's other callers that want to call in.
Yeah.
How do I hit your Patreon? I can just give you money?
Here we do. Let me put it up for you real quick so you can see it. How are you watching me, on YouTube?
I'm on YouTube right now.
All right.
I thank you for the chat or whatever for hearing me out and letting me go. I appreciate everybody. You know what I'm saying?
Well, welcome to the family. If you want to book a session with me, go to DanteNero.com, click on consult, and we can talk about the specifics of it. Okay?
I appreciate you, man. I'll be donating send some cash your way. Like I said, thank you, Chad. Thank you for your time.
Just book a consultation, and if you want to hit the cash app or whatever, that's cool. Thank you. But if you ain't got it like that, that's cool. But welcome to the family. All right?
I appreciate you, Dante. Thank you so much for your time.
All right, brother. Later.
Have a good night. Bye.
I know sometimes I don't know if I should look at the chat, but I sometimes the explanation needs to be as extensive as it. Also, let me put the number up real quick. Telephone number. Y'all want to call in 929-269-4922. The phone number's up. I didn't check the chat, but in essence, sometimes when I get something like that, that's really evident and it's clear that this is a problem, there's an overall overt problem that needs to be dealt with. I feel like to let it run out and see what the explanations are, because this is something that anybody could have this problem, So it's just not him. Phone lines are open, so there's that. Wait a minute, let me get on the chat. Y'all been, I got like 70. Everybody's in the chat. Also, if they got, I'm looking for you on Patreon and I can't find you. Ian, just real quick, I'm hoping you found me on Patreon. Just Manschool, patreon.com. Just put Manschool 202. How do I call in and ask a question? We'll do things. Let me see. ENN. Let me see. I want to read. I saw this would you do an episode on how to deal with mother-in-laws or parents that interfere within a relationship and how to deal with that? We can talk about that now. I mean, and ENN, if you want to call, the lines are open, we can talk about it, because if you give me the specifics. But I mean, I think there's an overall overreaching idea. Hold on, let me see. We got a call. Hold on. Hold on.
To accept, press.
What's your name? Where you calling from?
Yo, what's up, Dante? It's East Coast.
Wait, are you on the phone? You sound really muffled.
Is this any better?
Yeah, it's way better. What's going on?
Okay, I just saw you were live. I don't know if you're still trying to get situated or you ready for calls or what?
No, I'm live. Let's go. Let's rock.
All right.
You on air right now?
I need your help, man. Okay, yeah, I need your help. I've been doing the 5 bricks like religiously nonstop, and it's like to the point where 3 times out of 5, it's like a thank you. You know what I mean? Like it's an extremely positive response, and like there's it's almost an expectation of more, but I just keep it pushing. And I feel like I'm at a point where I've established a certain rapport with women, and I'm ready for, phase 2 or whatever you want to call it. But I'm just trying to get like a quick overview, like a high level overview of like how to continue. You know what I'm saying? Like,
so let me ask you this: have you had situations where the woman engages you and you engage back because she engaged with you, and then there's a situation where or have you had somebody where she gave you the number? Have you had that situation?
Yeah, there was one instance where this girl just made me stop. She made me kiss her hand. She gave me her information.
Okay.
Another girl Friday night, we sat next to each other the whole time at the nightclub, but we just chatted about life and stuff. We changed information, but I'm trying to focus on women that really get my blood pumping. You know what I'm saying? And I'm trying to figure out how to push it from there.
Well, here's the problem with that. These ones that you have to understand. So I'm assuming the women that did force, kind of gave you their information, and not women that you would have normally chose.
Not necessarily, but I guess I'm looking for 9s. As shallow as that is.
I mean, look, if you ain't got a job, a 9 ain't gonna talk to you. But so you know what I'm saying. We all have our preferences,
right?
Okay. First thing I'll give you the short answer. But if you're at this point where you feel like you need to move to the second phase, you probably should make a consultation, because it's way more detailed. But I can give you the overview, and you can take it. But at some point in time, you're gonna have to talk to me, okay? Because it's weird because I don't really talk to my nephew anymore, but because he's a weirdo. But he was trying to take singing lessons online, right? And at some point in time, because it's such a personal thing, right? At some point in time, you can't learn martial arts from videos. You know what I mean? At some point in time, you got to come in and roll on the mat, and so, but the overview is this. The next step, what I would say to do is, first of all, do you still have anxiety about laying the 5 bricks?
No, I go to Trader Joe's and I get 4 bricks in a 10-minute span. You know what I mean?
Okay.
The fear is still always there, but you push past it, I guess.
Okay, but then the fear, that's the point. You got to keep doing it till the fear is not there.
Okay.
So you're not really ready for you're very close to it, but there's things that I can say to you specifically, things that we would have to kind of explore is where this fear is coming from. I could probably, when you say the fear is still there, what is your, let me just ask you, what's your fear? What are you afraid of?
I shouldn't say fear, but.
Yeah, but stop. You said fear, right? How old are you?
32.
Okay. You know what fear is, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So if you said fear, I have to assume that's what you meant, right? There's no harm in that, right? But there's no sense in you saying fear and then so this needs to be safe for you to just like your honesty with me is just as important as your honesty with yourself,
Right.
And you're harsh. Just we're not charging nobody. You can just call in. The number's up. I'm sorry. Let me put the number up. And Ian, and I didn't forget about you, babe. I promise we'll get to you at this mother-in-law thing. It actually would be better if you called in. So call in if you can. But if not, I'll talk about it over the top. But when you say fear, there's fear. So now my question is, what is the fear? Like, worst case scenario, what do you think is going to happen?
Yeah, and I guess when you actually elaborate, I mean, it's just, I guess it's just approach anxiety, but
Yeah,
I don't
but
let it
approach
control
anxiety.
my.
Anxiety of what?
Yeah, you're right. But when you say that, that makes me realize that there's really nothing, because like I have yet to have somebody say, "Get the fuck out of my face," or call the cops, or you know what I mean.
So is that
I guess it's just
something that you're that you think is going to happen?
not necessarily. I tend to overthink, so maybe that's
Yeah,
just,
but
that's just my.
why? The question is why? Because here's the thing: if you have this thought, right, and like if there's an if you have so what you have more is a phobia than a fear. You know what I mean? Because the phobia means that you're afraid of something that doesn't really matter, that doesn't exist. You understand?
Right.
If it's
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
I'll say it straight up. Like, it's the typical fear of rejection or looking stupid, but I still do it. You know what I mean?
Okay. All right. Did you grow up? I mean, you grew up with both your parents?
Yes.
What kind of relationship did you have with your mom?
I love my mom. Great relationship.
What relationship did you have with your dad?
I love my dad. My mom was a single mom, but my dad was around. And then my mom got remarried, so I had a stepdad as well.
Okay, so my question is, so I don't know if I really want to go this deep on the call with this, but I mean, you can stop me if you want. Okay.
Sure.
My question is, I guess as a child, did you what kind of child were you? Were you confident or not confident, or what was your?
It's pretty shy kid.
Okay, so you being a shy kid, what was your fears when you say we were a shy kid? What do you mean? Was it socially? What about sports? Were you small? Were you tall? Too tall? Did you wear glass? Like, what was your thing?
I don't know. I was just shy. I mean, I wasn't small. I was actually a pretty tall guy, pretty tall kid. I played sports a little bit, but I wasn't particularly good.
Okay.
I was just like a shaker. It's I don't know.
So, well, I'm gonna try and skate over this because I don't want your personal, I don't want to talk about your personal business on there. But my point is that there's what we need to get to is that thing that where the insecurity comes from, because the insecurity comes from, it's a manifestation of, so who we are as people. A lot of it has to do with how we are perceived by our children, by our parents, right? And if it's not our parents, it's our parents, and then it becomes how we're perceived outside of that. So, let me see how I can put this. So there's a guy that I counsel. He's actually a pretty famous comic, right? But he speaks very low, like he has a very timid voice, right? His voice is very monotone and very timid. It's a lot of times you got to tell him, what'd you say? Because he doesn't speak up. So for me to illustrate this is, his father drank a lot. It was kind of abusive. And so when father would be drunk and shit, and then he'd be in the house. And so when he had needs or something, when he had to talk to his father, right? Mm-hmm. There was always a possibility that the father would jump out the window, scream and holler and cuss and carry on and physical abuse or whatever, right? And so even when he had needs, right, he would whisper the needs because he didn't really want to be hurt, right? He might have had a need that he really needed to talk to his dad about, or talk, you know what I'm saying? But in the house, the way he learned to communicate is like, I just don't want to be seen, because if I'm seen, right, there's always a possibility that things could go left and I could end up in a confrontation with my father, who clearly had his own issues. And it became, you know what I'm saying? And so he learned to, he ultimately learned that this is how he Yeah,
Because he's a
he
fit.
learned to socialize in that way, you know? And it's unfortunate
Right,
because now he's a 30-year-old guy and he's in a relationship and he'd be like, so, hey, Dante, how you doing? And I'm like, what? What the fuck? So now you can imagine you being in situations with women or, where you want to get to, you want to have a relationship or whatever.
Mhm.
And you're stuck because this is how this is how you've learned to communicate. It's just really awful, and
Right.
and so his communication in real life as an adult is the exact same way. Make sense?
I get what you're getting at. Yeah, and I definitely, I'm like the person I am now is pretty much black and white to the kid I was. But I understand that, and I don't have any history of like parental abuse and nothing like that. But
No,
I'm from like
I want you
I've
to understand. So I'm not saying that there's parent. I'm using this as an extreme.
I get what you're saying. Like I'm from Flatbush, so I got beat up and robbed on occasion. So that might be part of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like kind of be shy.
Keeping 100.
But
yeah.
But yeah, I get what you're getting at.
But these things tend to affect us in a way that we don't always know how they affect us. Do you understand?
Right.
Then we push them down in these dark recesses of of how we see things, and then it's affecting us on the back end in a way that we don't really understand, and it just ends up in a way that it affects us. So I would imagine that there's something that you're worried about. It doesn't, whatever the rejection is, and you need to understand that the best way I can say this is that understanding that this is an unrealistic fear is super important.
Mm-hmm.
Because you can have this fear. If it's a fear and the fear is reasonable, right? 100%. Yeah, I mean that we should worry about the things that we should worry about. But if we're worrying about something that just is unrealistic, one of the things about laying the 5 bricks, this helps cure, because every guy is kind of worried about, they're worried about the outcome. When you start learning, when you start asking for the when you start doing the laying the 5 bricks, the first thing you're worried about is what? You're worried about what the response is going to be, the rejection, the this, the that, the other. So it's interesting because how long have you been laying the 5 bricks?
For months. I mean, I've spoken to you. I consulted with you back in September.
Okay.
But this year I've been really.
So here's my thing, that all of the things that you thought were going to be a problem, right?
Yeah.
None of those things happened. You didn't get cursed out, right? Nobody called the cops. Nobody, you know what I'm saying? So much of this was just your fear in your own head, and when confronted with the reality of laying the 5 bricks, you with your own eyes, you see that people don't really act like that, especially when you lay the 5 bricks from the perspective of being honest, right?
Right.
Because when you're complimenting somebody from your honest perspective, why would they be angry? Like, you know what I'm saying? If you're saying to somebody, if somebody spent, let's say a woman spent 5 hours in the beauty parlor, right? And it's hot, whatever. She's been sitting in the air, got the hair washed, was under the dryer, the whole shit, right? And you go, let's say you go, hey, you go, wow, your hair looks beautiful. How's she gonna be mad at you, right?
She's not.
In fact, she's gonna appreciate the fact that you said something,
Yeah, and I'll comment on that. Literally, I feel like I'm so specific now that most of the time it's always like, oh, thank you, I just got these, or I just got it done.
Right,
you know
right. Which took you time to learn that. So
Right.
in essence, what happens is we have a fear about how we think things are perceived and how they're gonna be perceived and what that response is. And then when it doesn't happen, we have living experience of the fact that what our fear was irrational.
Yeah.
And hopefully you do it enough that you actually see when it doesn't happen, like you've been doing it for months and you go, oh, it's just like it's funny because I'm listening to you while you're talking, right? And one of the things you said was, you still have the fear, but none of those things. I didn't get cursed at. These are things that you said. Nobody called the cops on me. I didn't get cursed out. And you're actually getting you're getting responses where women are actually going, hey, I want to. They're responding in a great way, right?
Yeah.
What's weird about this is that you still don't believe it.
Yeah.
You have empirical evidence that all the things that you was worried about is not even an issue, and you still don't believe it.
Is this like Luke Skywalker lifting up the X-wing out of the water?
Yeah.
I don't believe it.
Yeah, you don't believe. Yeah, you don't believe that. I can't tell you how many times here's a situation. We had a consultation. How long ago would you say?
Like September, October.
Okay, September, October, November, December, January, February, March, April, May. And you never, all the things that you were worrying about, right? All the things that I told you would happen. You didn't believe me in September, right? You did what I asked you to do, right?
Yeah.
Because you were desperate, but you didn't believe what I was saying was true.
Yeah.
I had to deal with that in my own ego sometimes because I know y'all don't believe me. I know y'all are fans. I know that y'all dig my content. I know there's people that show up here every week, every time I go on live, and there's a feeling and there's a movement for it, but y'all don't believe what I'm saying. And I used to get angry because y'all don't believe what I'm saying, right?
Right.
But I can't. But what I realize is that it's such human nature that the scars that put us in that situation where we can't, the fear and the scars that put us in a situation where we can't be our true self, is so deep seated and so hidden, right? You got to do this until it doesn't matter how many successes you have. You're literally, have you gotten laid yet by laying the 5 bricks?
Not yet. I feel like I'm not.
But do you understand when I spoke to you in September, you wouldn't even think that was possible. You hoped that I could get you there, right? But you didn't think it was possible. And even when it happens, right? Because it's gonna happen, right? You ain't gonna believe me then.
Nah, man. I take criticism very well, and I take this stuff to heart, man. Like,
I get it. We all do. My point is, you not gonna, as much as you realize how I can't imagine. Like, maybe if you got to the point where you could talk to a woman that you thought was attractive, show who you were, she qualifies for what you want, you qualify, and you get laid in the course of a day, you still wouldn't believe me. You would still have the anxiety of what if I get rejected. You're only going to,
I'm doing you and I'm doing myself a disservice by still having this.
Listen, that's not what I'm saying. I don't want you to see that I'm beating you up. I just want you to understand. You ever see Steph Curry pull up half court and then,
of course,
and then turn around before the shot goes in?
Yes. And
then you half court, he 3-pointer from half court, and he don't even look at it because he knows it went in. Right. Do you know how many shots he's got to do like that in order to not even look back?
Wow.
That's where you got to get. That's where you got to get. So as much as you need to consult with me. We'll get you. We'll kind of dig out that rot, right? See where it comes from. You have to cognitively see why you think the things that you think, right? Mm. And then even then you're not going to believe me. But that's the first. We got to get the rot out, and then you need to have the empirical evidence that you're capable of doing this and you're worthy of this, and then then your attitude will change. And even then, there will be times where you will feel insecure about how it maps itself out. You feel me?
Right, I feel you.
And that's where you're at. So I would keep knocking it out the park because you don't believe me yet. And I know, I know that sounds weird because you're laughing and I'm like, but it
no,
don't hurt. Go ahead, guys. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I get what you're saying, because if I'm still expressing the fear, then the fear is antithetical to like what's going on. Like, you know what I mean? Like, nothing has happened to substantiate that fear. Like, it's fine.
You have no empirical evidence that your fear are reasonable.
Right.
And at the time when you started this, you thought it would happen every time. Right?
Yeah.
You were white knuckling it.
Yeah. Well,
but I want you to understand, I appreciate the fact that you trust me enough to take you on this journey, right? And get you to, because that's a lot. To trust me is a great feeling for me that you trust me enough. I mean, there's a bunch of shitbird motherfuckers out there talking whatever they talking, and you chose to trust me. And I mean that about you and everybody else in the comments and everybody else that's live. It is, I understand. There's not a this is we're talking about human behavior, and I've learned not to have that. I've learned to not have that kind of ego tripping on just anger about something where it's really it's not because of me. It has nothing to do with me.
Right.
And I know it has nothing to do with me because nobody believes me.
Man, you're making me feel bad, but
no, I don't want you to feel bad. I want you to understand. If anything, you should feel like you're not alone, dude. This is human nature, and that's okay.
Yeah,
it's okay. We'll get you past it. You trust me, right?
Dude, I'm in a place with women that I couldn't imagine being 6 months ago. So
you trust me, right?
Trust me. I trust the process. I trust you. I trust the method.
All right. You don't believe me, but you trust me. All right, hit me, bro. I appreciate you, man. Thank you.
Thanks,
also, send me some money, motherfuckers. What's wrong with y'all? Cash App is open. PayPal is open. Send me some money. I didn't even get a super chat today. ENN, here's the thing. The same thing, even when you talk about mother-in-law and mother-in-laws and stuff like that, a lot of times women will have guys who have been nurtured and by their mother, and they don't know how to set the boundaries with their mother. So that really the problems with the mother-in-law and stuff is not so much your problem. I mean, if you're being a righteous chick and you're being kind and you're being respectful, right? Your guy should not be letting his mother disrespect you. And if you're with a guy who's not standing up for you and because it's not really your place, unless she's directly disrespecting you, right? Unless she's out and out disrespecting you to your face, right? It is his job to take care of that. That's not your job. But you got to understand that if his mother doesn't respect him, she's not going to respect you. I can give you a easy scenario. I have a guy who I worked with in the phone company for 20 years, right? And his wife is horrible, right? And she doesn't respect him. He's never cheated on her. He's always been a good husband. He's always been there for his family. And she's accused him of cheating and accused him because when they were 20 years old, they met, and he was a guy who was in entertainment, and there were these girls who found him attractive, and she heard a girl talking about him, my friend, in the bathroom. They were 20 years old. They're 60 pushing 70. She still holds that same insecurity from when they were 20, and he has never stopped her from being just and holding him to task and running him to the point where she's so confident, and she doesn't respect him to the point where she doesn't respect any of his friends. So even as his adult friends in their 50s and 60s and stuff don't hang out with him because of the fact that they don't want to deal with his wife. The point is, it was a friendship that I had to end because of the fact that he wouldn't demand his own respect from his own wife. So how could she respect me as a friend of his? And so what I'm saying, in essence, if you're married and your husband is allowing his mother to disrespect you, he's not being a man. He's not showing his mother that he's a man to set the boundaries and say, I will not allow you to treat my significant other that way. And if you treat her that way, I'm not a biblical person, but they always say when a man gets married, he's supposed to cling to his wife. That's who becomes his family. And if he's not willing to put his mother in her place, right, even to the point where he might have to minimize or cut off connection with his mother because she can't be there. If she could just be disrespectful and there's no consequence to it, then she's gonna keep doing it. She ain't gonna change it for you or nobody else. And if he allows it, I promise you, she will never stop, because nobody's gonna be good enough for her baby. And that doesn't have to change. But what does have to change is the fact that she's because she has to understand that she is not allowed to treat him that way because he's a man. He's a grown man. And if she doesn't think that he's worthy of that respect, she'll never give it to him. And he'll always be a mama's boy. So but you have to have a man-to-man talk with him about it. And sometimes, and I mean, I don't know if that's you can always avoid them and whatever, but it's always going to be a thing if he doesn't nip it in the butt, So, I mean, I'm sorry if that doesn't, I'm sorry if that's not a easy answer, but that's the answer. She's disrespectful to you because she's disrespectful to him, and he won't stop it. So there's that. Let me see. 134th. Phone lines are open. 929-269-4922. 4922. Don't forget the Patreon. Please sign up for the Patreon. It's www.patreon.com/manschool202. If you need a consultation, y'all know what it is. DanteNero.com. Click on consult. We'll fix whatever we need to fix. Send me some money, goddammit. Phone lines are open. I'm going through these comments really quick because we had a lot today. J. Hosh Barnes, I don't understand what you're referencing to, but if you want to clarify, call in. The lines are open. One of them point that he's repeated university for 3 years because he's one bastard and one payment. I'm not sure what that means. Let's see. Here's one from Miles. Miles, my baby mom and I took a chick out on a date to run a threesome, I guess, with her, but it didn't jump off. We've been trying to take her out again and ran into her once. She said she wants to do it again, but she's been flaky. In that situation, Miles, what you got to do is you got to let your girl do the work. She's not going to feel, I don't know if you have a closer connection with her or what, but it seems to me like if a woman talks to her, it would probably be. I mean, I'm assuming that she wants to hang out with you because she's actually into women. You won't usually find a woman that will go out with the guy and the girl unless she's into the woman, because if she's not into a woman, she just, she'll just make it, she'll avoid it. But I would say have you put your girl in and let your girl run point, and have a conversation with her. And it's also really cool that you really get the idea whether your girl is into it. I'm assuming that your girl is into women as well because she's hang out with you and her. So that's that's the best part of it. But I would let her run point. Let your girl run point. Angie, what's up, baby? How you doing? Just shout out to Angie. Angie's a celebrity in the comments now. Angie gets online and everybody's like, "What's up, Ange?" Find a new girl swagger that you have to find another girl willing to eye catch. I'm not sure what that means, but anyway, let's see. Big shouts to Ange. Marriage is a hustle. Eye to eye says marriage is a hustle. Yeah, I mean that whole situation with the green card and stuff is an interesting thing. I mean, the bottom line is what I find is you have to set those boundaries, and sometimes people are, the ends don't meet sometimes, and if the ends don't meet, and you have a counter argument for what your non-negotiables, that's why non-negotiables are so important, because once you've established them, you can see that this doesn't work. It doesn't, and you have to verbalize it too, because if you don't verbalize it, then you can't assume that somebody gets it. But once you verbalize it and somebody goes, "Yeah, I don't give a fuck," you know where they're at. They don't have to say, "I don't give a fuck about you or your feelings and I'm never going to change." They don't have to verbalize that. Just their actions say that. Trixie B, what's popping? See you in the chat. And yeah, she might be using him, but he'll find that out. Somebody said, "Thank God he signed a prenup." Yes, you're right, Xavier. There is ways around the prenup. Yeah, that's always a funky situation. Green card process, you got to sign an affidavit that you're liable for the beneficiary. You got to pay a ton of money and spend countless hours putting evidence together for USCIs to grant her residency. Yes, you do. You're absolutely right. So sometimes you got to ask whether true love is worth that. Harsh operator. M Sleek in the building. Xavier in the building. Let's go Cards 04. What did I say backwards? I'm sorry. I didn't catch that. Phone lines are open if y'all want to call in. I'm just going through the comments and then I'm going to shut this down if we don't get no calls. Hurt now, laugh later. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. And I mean, he even in that situation should have been nipped in the butt 2 years ago when they were dating. And one of the things I say all the time is it's a weird, one of the things, there's so many sexless marriages. It's like you sometimes, women will want the marriage, but they want the wedding, but they don't want the marriage. And so if in the marriage, a woman is asking you for fidelity, then you need to make it clear that your sexual needs need to be handled. Now, I'm not saying that you're supposed to be unreasonable if she's not feeling well or whatever. And, but overall, the point is, this is what you're signing up for. Just like the man is signing up to be man of the house, to protect the provider and all those things too. And if you don't have that as a if that understanding has not been verbalized, then you can't assume that you get it. that somebody gets it just because they go, I do. You need to say what it is you expect. Let me just, I'm trying to get through all these, so many comments. Shout out to Jemba. I see you in the comments. The Wyatt Christian in the building. You got here late, huh? And took out a state contract and went to making $700 a week to $2,000 a week. I'm not sure what that is, but all right. Harsh is in the is in the comments heavy. All right, let me. And if not, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna do. Any questions? Any questions? Any questions? All right. The Wyatt Christian said, "Yeah, the girls have fun until they tag you in." I always say, penis is like penis is like popcorn at the movies. Nobody, when it comes to a threesome, nobody goes to the movie for $20 popcorn. But once you're there, you figure you might as well indulge. I mean, that's how you should approach threesomes. Women don't go to the threesome for dick. They go there for each other, and then you happen to be there. I'm not saying it always happens that, but it's usually that women into each other, and then you are kind of brought into this whole thing. All right, look, we've been rocking for an hour and 45, and I just wanted to say, let me finish what I was saying about the phone lines are open, so I'll take the call if we get one. But my closing thoughts on this is that you have to understand that honesty, the authenticity, credibility, and empathy is so rare. When I ask the comment how many people know somebody like that, nobody is overwhelmingly. Somebody said 7, which is crazy to me, but and I think if she probably was really scrutinizing them to that degree, you would be that number would go lower. But I mean, 7 is really high. Most people go 1 or 2, and most people have nobody that they can say is honest all the time, is always shows up and has empathy, because they'll always miss, even if they have one of the things, they'll miss the other 2, or if they have 2 of the things, they'll miss 1. So there's that. But my point is, if you understand basic business, supply and demand, things that are most scarce are the most valuable, right? This is why De Beers controls the diamond trade. They release a certain amount of diamonds, and that's how the diamonds are maintain a high level of price for diamonds, because they release them and they control the consumption. It's the same thing like with price gouging. People will hold the product, and then the product goes up because of the scarcity. So understand this and use the same principle when it comes to you, your self-esteem, and your self-worth. If you practice honesty, integrity, and empathy, or authenticity, credibility, and empathy, there's so many people in the world. You're such a rarity, right? That because you're so rare, you have so much more value than the people in your surroundings and people that you know, that you become a commodity. Just your character, which is really weird to understand, that your character becomes a commodity. And because your character is a commodity, it helps you start to understand, because people view you in a different light. People will speak to you different. People will accept you differently. People receive you differently. And that's on family life, businesses, people. It's funny, I was talking to my boy Major, and Major was like, yo, I got this jazz spot where all he did was really kind to this woman. He was respectful. He tipped her. He said he appreciated her. He showed up. He gave her courtesy even. And she, he goes to a jazz club that she sets him out every time he goes there. Like, just acting in this way. Don't get me wrong, there are people that will take advantage, but even when they take advantage, I don't even look at it as them taking advantage. It just teaches me to eliminate these people from my life. But what happens is people receive you because you're such a commodity and you become so much more important in the grand scheme of life and living and society in general. So that's how your integrity and your telling the truth, the ultimate truth, just being a stickler about the details and not lying through omission makes you way more important. So, I love y'all, man. Don't forget, like and subscribe and share. Please share this. Send this stuff to somebody. I'm going to be live on Tuesday. We'll be in the studio. Harry will probably be with me. Also, don't forget to sign up for the Patreon. Please. Some of you, if the Cash App don't work or whatever, please. The Cash App is always up. But even if you want to support the show and you appreciate the content that we're doing, you want us to continue to do it, please sign up for the Patreon. It's patreon.com/manschool202. If you want a consultation, you know how to get me. Book a consultation, a one-on-one. We go in deep. DanteNero.com. I guarantee you it's life-changing. Also, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so that you get notified whenever I'm going live. I'm back in the game, so the lives are going to be pretty consistent. So if y'all need something, you can hit me up. GYBB, get your balls back. WWDD, what would Dante do? I appreciate all the ladies. Big shout out to all the ladies that were in the comments and listening and stuff. This stuff is for you, too. GYBB, get your balls back. WWDD, what would Dante do? The Sexual Revolution is being podcasted. I love y'all. Also, coming up soon, the merch, the store will be ready soon. So, look for that. Peace. We out of here.